wasn't you there? Why wasn't you there in the moments that I needed you most?
Honey BooBoo is probably one of the most memorable people in America, and probably around the world. It all started with fans of the TLC show Toddlers in Tiaras becoming obsessed with a little girl called Alana Thompson and her mother June, and their role in the world of child pageants. What would follow was both a catalyst into the world of fame and fortune, but with this also came a chain of reaction scandals, arrests, and other controversial career moments. But what was the real cause for all of this? Is there a deeper lying issue that has the name Honey BooBoo leaving a sour taste in the mouth of millions? In today's video, we're going to be taking a deep dive into her life, family, and career. Honey BooBoo's real name is Alana Thompson, and she was born on the 28th of August in 2005. Alana belongs to the Thompson family, who are a self-proclaimed family of rednecks from the state of Georgia. For most of the family, they spent the majority of their time living a normal life out of the public eye. They lived in a house in a rural area where all of the children could do what every kid does growing up, playing with their siblings and friends and going to school. But Alana was different from other kids in the family. She may have loved playing around in her mom's backyard, but she also loved the glitz and glamorous life of being a child pageant queen. She had her eyes on the huge frilly dresses and sparkling tiaras that looked nearly as loud as her outgoing and bubbly personality. Her mother, June, decided to start taking Alana to local pageants in Georgia, and this is where the mother-daughter duo was first introduced to TV, as they were recurring stars of the controversial TLC show Toddlers in Tiaras. Although Alana enjoyed performing in the pageants, it's important to note that they were not always the safest or healthiest environment for children to be in. In fact, the problems associated with child pageants are a lot more severe than most think. A lot of people see child beauty pageants and think of them as no more than just harmless fun that lets young children have the opportunity to play dress up in huge costumes and live the fairy tale princess fantasy that is shared by so many. But when TLC introduced the show Toddlers and Tiaras to viewers, their audience quickly showed concerns over many aspects of the show, and if the subject of the series was even an ethical practice for children to be participating in. Some of the most controversial moments on the show include when a 4-year-old girl was given the task of impersonating legendary country singer Dolly Parton. However, in order to achieve a satisfactory appearance, fully grown adults patted large fake breasts onto a girl, as well as other shapewear to give her a more mature and sexualized figure. Honey BooBoo's mother, also known as Mama June, was also behind one of the TV show's most controversial moments, and she gave her daughter, Alana, a drink known as pageant crack or go-go juice, which was a mixture of Red Bull and Mountain Dew, with the purpose of the sugary concoction hyping up her small daughter so she would have the energy to stay awake and compete for hours on end. But the main subject that had viewers scratching their head was the blatant sexualization of children that were so young they hadn't even started school yet. In an interview with Desert Times, Dr. Hillary Friedman, a psychologist from Harvard University, commented on the antics shown in Toddlers in Tiaras, saying, "On these reality shows, people start to think that's okay, like an everyday occurrence. So you can go out as a 6-year-old and wear a ton of makeup and have a bare midriff. So many see these girls on TV, and as they are watching and when they see it become suggestive, it seems okay." The dark and shady practices don't stop there though. In fact, as you look behind the scenes, things only get worse, as a notable pageant mom actually admitted to injecting Botox into her daughter, who was only 8 years old at the time. In an interview with ABC News, pageant mom Carrie Campbell made a claim that her daughter Brittany was actually the one who wanted the Botox, after her mom recalled her saying, "I just don't think that the wrinkles look nice on little girls." To try and ease the minds of people watching the interview, Campbell stated that she was not the parent doing this to their child. In fact, according to her, it's actually very common within the world of beauty pageants. But needless to say, this just shocked the audience even more. With the child pageant industry gaining more public recognition in the early 2000s and 10s, experts were sent in to conduct research on the fascinating but less than ethical industry, and came out finding that these pageants were more fuel to the parents rather than the actual children that were competing. In 2012, a registered dietitian and professor from the University of Arizona working in their nutritional science department, attended 2 live filmings of the TLC show Toddlers and Tiaras and concluded from her research that the parents were suffering from something called princess by proxy. What she meant by this was parents who enter their children into these competitions are completely enthralled with the social and financial opportunities that are presented through the world of child beauty pageants. But the factors that may negatively affect the actual child typically come secondary, which is what makes these pageants so harmful for children. They are so harmful that in France, child pageants have actually been banned for any children under the age of 16 years old. But the chances of America following in France's footsteps are highly unlikely, as author and sociologist Hilary Levy-Friedman commented that historically and legally, our system defers to parents to make the right decision for their child. So as we can see, the time in Alana Thompson's life that was seen as the simpler beginnings before fame were never really as innocent as they may have seemed. And she was perhaps predisposed to being stuck in some of the more unhealthy and illegal environments that followed later in her life. The next of which being the ordeals that occurred when she was given her own TLC TV show called Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. Within just a few months of being on Toddlers and Tiaras, Alana and her mother June became fan favorites. And as the audience grew, so did their fan base. This led to TLC picking up on how admired the mother-daughter duo was. And on the 8th of August 2012, the network debuted their brand new show called Here Comes Honey Boo Boo. The show steered away from Alana's time in the pageant scene, and instead cameras followed the adventures of the entire family, with June being the key matriarch figure and Honey Boo Boo being the highly caffeinated beauty queen. The series was an instant success, and Alana became a pop culture phenomenon overnight. So much so that Here Comes Honey Boo Boo is still one of TLC's most viewed series. But just like Alana's pageant career, she was having the time of her life in an extremely toxic environment. Except this time, it was so much worse than anyone could have imagined. First off, in 2012, Mama June was criticized for giving Alana a mix of Red Bull and Mountain Dew to her daughter. This actually caused Child Protective Services to get involved and investigate Alana's health. But what made matters worse was while filming Honey Boo Boo, Alana was filmed dancing on a bar for money. This caused the investigation to continue. However, June defended her decision to let Alana dance on the bar, saying that it was just a college bar and not a bar made for other purposes. Child Protective Services from this point kept a close eye on the family. However, there seemed to be constant drama and scandals reaching the news from what was shown on the family's TV show. Other notable controversies included Lauren, also known as Pumpkin, was nearly blinded after June's partner Mike Thompson threw a set of car keys at her, which landed directly in her eye. Lauren had to be rushed to the hospital and was made to wear an eye patch for weeks. The family was also criticized when a clip shown of Lauren dipping her child's pacifier into Mountain Dew before putting it into her mouth. But these instances were just the tip of the iceberg, and the worst was still yet to come. In 2014, a huge bombshell was dropped, which reached media sources all across the world and became one of the most talked about scandals to happen in the year, when TMZ published a photo of June with a mysterious man who was potentially a new love interest in her life. People investigated and did some digging, but they were completely lost for words when they found out who this man was. Mama June's new boyfriend, Mark McDaniel, had just come out of a 10-year prison sentence for SAing an 8-year-old girl, and what's worse is that the little girl in question was June's eldest daughter, Anna. It shook the entire world, and especially hit hard to fans of the show that had admired June for being the motherly figure that glued the family together. After the news broke, TLC swiftly canceled the show entirely and released a statement commenting, "We are currently reassessing the reports, but we do not currently have Here Comes Honey Boo Boo in production." In the blink of an eye, June had become public enemy number 1. So many questioned how she could possibly reignite a romantic relationship with a man that had abused her daughter in such a horrific way. The crimes are apparently so horrific that June actually refused to read the police report on the details of what happened.
Do you want to see what he did to your daughter?
I told Anna that not to bring up the past again because I know it's hard for Anna and it would be hard for me.
She's trying to heal,
and for me.
Alana was only a few months older than what Anna was when the horrific abuse happen, which made it all the more mind-blowing how June could put her youngest daughter in so much danger for the sake of an old relationship. Here Comes Honey Boo Boo being thrown away in the trash and June Shannon being completely suffocated by her scandals, the family decided to lay low for a while. However, it seems like once you get a taste of being a TV star, it's hard to just let all of your ambitions and dreams go. And on the 24th of February 2017, TLC debuted another show starring America's ex-favorite reality TV family. However, this time, the focus had been shifted off of Alana, and instead, this time Mama June was starring as the lead role. In the new series called Mama June From Not to Hot, June decided she was going to let a production crew follow her around once again, but this time to document her weight loss journey. The weight loss journey was actually extremely successful since June received a bariatric sleeve surgery which helped her to lose 300 pounds. June then attended premieres and other events to promote her new show, and people couldn't believe just how much weight she had lost. But what was really weird about this entire time period is that all of a sudden the public seemed to be completely distracted by June's strikingly different appearance and forgot about the fact of her choosing to rekindle a relationship with a man who had essayed her daughter. The show was a success, and by this point, June was on cloud 9. But within the year, history repeated itself, and June ended up in yet another controversy. This one, however, was probably the most terrifying. It turned out that while June had been showing off her incredible weight loss journey, going from a size 18 to a size 4, there was yet again complete chaos going on behind the scenes. And in this case, June had been involved in a relationship with a new man who, together, were spiraling deep into a heavy pit of addiction. In 2019, June was arrested for possession of a controlled substance. At the time, she was living in her truck with her new boyfriend, Gino Doak, since June had sold her beloved family home in Georgia for $100,000 in cash to support her addiction. June was taken into police custody, but upon release, her troubles only worsened, and June has since admitted that she was spending at least $2,000 a day on different substances. And in just a year, she and her boyfriend had spent a mind-blowing $1 million just to support their toxic lifestyle. After years of battling her problems, June made the decision to enter rehab. And when she came out, it looked like TLC had nothing but dollar signs in their eyes, as in March 2021, Mama June From Hot to Not premiered its 5th season titled Mama June Road to Redemption. This time, TLC would not be focusing on June's weight loss, but instead her journey with getting sober and trying to amend bridges that she had burned over the last decade of her life. And as you can imagine, this big battle with substance abuse was extremely hard on all of June's family. But most of all, it was hardest on Alana, who had to move out of her mother's house and to go stay with her sister because of how unsafe it was for June's youngest daughter to be living in the same house as her while she was using drugs. As of recently, just in the last week, Alana's older sister now has complete custody over Alana, and June has been ordered to pay child support until Alana turns 18. Despite Here Comes Honey Boo Boo still being one of TLC's highest rated shows, many have argued that even if the show didn't meet its premature end date due to June's many different scandals, eventually the series would have to stop, as Alana, who was the main star of the show, would simply just grow up and would no longer be recognized as the sassy and over-the-top little girl the world fell in love with. Alana is now 16 years old and has proven to have matured from the girl that she once was. She has even made several attempts at keeping her career going with a music career and even participating in the junior version of Dancing with the Stars, where she was eliminated. However, it looks like the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, as Alana herself has now been involved in a controversial relationship. In September of last year, Alana made a post to Instagram showing off her new boyfriend, who she had made things publicly official with. However, the post was quickly deleted after Alana was met with criticism, since her boyfriend, Drellin Croswell, was a 20-year-old college student. Alana defended her boyfriend by reminding fans that in the state of Georgia, where the couple both live, the legal age of consent is 16 years old. Although Mama June herself admitted in an interview that the couple have already been seeing each other for over a year by this point, meaning that Drellin would have already been a legal adult who is dating and talking romantically with a 15-year-old girl. So even though at the present moment their relationship is completely legal, a lot of people shared their concerns with the fact that the pair would have started their romance when Alana was not yet at the legal age of with consent. Alana's own mother, June, defended the couple in an interview, saying, "I've met Drowlin. They've been together for over a year. People need to realize that she's going to be 17 in August and that Alana's older sister, Pumpkin, and Josh were the same age as they were." She continued her statement saying, "She is getting a lot of hate because she's in an interracial relationship. He's older," she added. But at the end of the day, Alana's not that 6-7-year-old child y'all fell in love with 11 years ago. Alana has grown up. She's graduating high school next year, guys. Despite Alana's family being fully supportive of her relationship with her older boyfriend, June's words don't seem to be trusted by many due to her past controversies of getting in a relationship with an abusive family member and abandoning Alana to support her substance addiction. So now we are at the present day, and Alana herself seems to be one of the most surprisingly put together child stars. We have seen over the past few decades how so many children that are pushed into the spotlight from a young age can wind up on a dark path, leading to a multitude of issues. But Alana has grown out of her former sassy self and now looks happier than ever. But of course, like most celebrities, we as the audience only see a tiny portion of what is really going on behind the scenes in someone's life. And Alana Thompson will always be a celebrity that many wonder the fate of. From being placed into problematic beauty pageants before she had even learned the alphabet, to being trapped in a hostile living arrangement with her chaotic mother, to now entering a questionable relationship. Who knows what the future holds for Alana Thompson, or as the world has always known her, Honey Boo Boo. Thanks for watching!